Hello everybody, Brady and welcome back to another video. We're playing another Sicilian. We get a lot of Sicilians. We don't get as many D4 openings, which is unfortunate. Okay, and they're playing Bishop C4. I'll just play G6. Are they going to go for Queen F3? You never know these days. You think you can trust someone, and you really can't. Okay, E6. Yeah, a lot of people keep going for this stuff, but it's just, it loses time. That's the important part to remember. It loses time. So here we can actually just take on G5. It is not defended. And here we can actually just take on G2. And I'm just going to develop naturally with moves like knight to E7 and D5. Trying to really punish my opponent. I could take on B2, but I'm more so interested in taking on H3. Takes, and now it looks like we can take on H3. What happens, my dear friends, if they play Bishop E5? I think Knight C6, or maybe this Knight C6. Let's play this Knight C6. Yeah, let's play this Knight C6. So they're hoping to take there. It doesn't quite work because we have D4. But I actually don't care about either of those things. I'm just going to take on H3. The important part here of taking on H3 is that when they take on C6, we do not... Okay, good. That was a good move by them. But we have Bishop F3, or G4, sorry. Bishop G4 forces F3, which means we can exchange. And then after we exchange, we can just play something very safe. We can also play D4 right now. We just have to remember that we have to take back with... Oh, we can actually take back with the queen now. That's cool. That's something I visually did not see. So that's cool. Yeah, so... Okay, mate is actually threatened. This is something I should have seen. So we just go Bishop E6. And we're okay. We're okie dokie. Bishop F4. I think it's time to castle. This is as good a time as any. I want to play there. I also want to play Knight F5. I also want to consider Bishop G4. I like Bishop G4 the most, I think. Because now there's no pin. So they're not threatening mate. I originally actually missed that. They could play the one move that I mentioned that I already forgot. I missed that Queen takes E7 is still possible because this piece was pinned. So there's a slight miscalculation, but it's okay. We're still winning. We have a lot of material. We're a material girl in a material world. And that is unfortunately pinned. Or not pinned. Anyways, yeah, we can take it. That's what I'm trying to say. Hey, Peter, we can take it. So knight to D5. Queen to this square. And I was thinking of just taking on F4 here. It might not be the most accurate, but it does give us a lot of material. And I think it just like reduces complications enough to where we don't have to think. And I think making sure we reduce our worries is just the most important thing. Like, if we get our queen trapped and it's just like we win nothing for it, all of a sudden they might slightly be back in the game. So here they're just not. And I think that's actually really important, is that we're okay with, like, it's okay if you're up like 5 million pieces to give up your queen for something else, right? Because we're still up 5 million pieces. We already won their queen. So do we really have to worry too much about keeping the other one. I'm just going to go rook c8, defend this guy, and go b5. I'm going to entice them to take on e6. Or I can just recapture. I'm going to take. That feels quite good. They can go knight d6, but they don't. Just move back. I'm looking at h5, h4. Right, we got pawns. It's time to push them. We're not really worried about king safety anymore. It feels like that problem has gone and went. Is that how to say it? I'm not sure. Yeah, and that's why our opponent ended up resigning there. Let's check things out a little deeper on an emotional level, shall we? Okay. So here we have just a normal setup, and again, after this knight g5, knight f3, g5, sure, f7 is a potential weakness, and f2 is a potential weakness, because only the kings do defend them. The problem is, if you waste time like this, then all of a sudden you have a lot of sins to answer for, and the sins here are the sins of momentum. Whenever you push, think of it like a tidal wave, or like you're in the bathtub and you're splashing around, right? It pushes against one wall, but it pushes right back. So if you miss your momentum, and your momentum isn't strong enough to go over the side of the bathtub to where your mother yells at you because why are you getting water all over her new floor that she put in, then all of a sudden, you know, it just comes back and smacks you in the face, as water does. In that case, you're clean. In this case, you lose a chess game. So keep that in mind. All right. And yeah, after they lost the piece, it was a bit easy peasy going on from this point. So that's the most important thing, is just remember momentum. Think about momentum. And I guess when you're talking about conversion, it's also good to point out that, hey, even if you win a queen and everything, we're up 11 points of material here. You can see right there. Down here, 11 points of material, which is a queen and 2 pawns. Yeah, I think, yeah, a queen and 2 pawns. Then we're okay with like giving our queen back for a little something. And we can do that by, for example, taking on f1, which I think is not the right call here because that's a little bit less. Or we can do it for a piece and a rook, where all of a sudden what we're left with at the end of the day in this position is, okay, we gave up 1 point of material, but look how much things have simplified, right? It's a rook versus a rook, a knight versus a knight, a bishop versus a bishop, but then we just have an extra bishop and rook, and that's it. If it's just an extra bishop, maybe you can think about it, or like maybe you can consider not doing it, or maybe it's just an extra exchange or something, and that's where you have to use your better judgment. In this case, it just makes things much simpler, because, hey, if we, for example, if we go like queen g2 here, and then we allow this rook to go here, and then we take here, yeah, we're probably obviously totally fine, but you never know. Maybe all of a sudden they play something like rook f1, and, you know, our queen is trapped. We still actually have the bailout queen takes f4, which is really nice, but I'm trying to show an example where we don't have that, but luckily we're still completely winning here where we do. You get the point I'm trying to say, is don't be afraid to simplify. Look at the resulting positions, not just the one you have, and make sure that if you look at the resulting position versus the one you have, you are equally or more confident that you can win that one over the current one. And you have to look at things objectively as well. Don't just do it because, oh, you know, I'm okay with going into a pawn up rook ending because I feel like I can win that, when it's maybe an actually equal position, versus what you might have had was a winning position earlier on. You know, because you gave up 2 pawns to trade down into that rook ending. That's not a smart idea. But if it's objectively still the same evaluation or close enough where it's still winning, by all means go for it. That's what I'm trying to say. That's all. Thank you guys for watching. I love you. That's my first time saying that. All right. Bye, guys.